Make this worth my time. Take this vitality boon.
Weight of law.
Life is so brittle. You yield and fight on.
No mercy.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Just want to give you guys a quick 7-day full 1-week update on my Spark Elementalist in SSF. It has been a blast. And actually, I started recording and I was fighting Elder. I got a Prismatic Jewel and I just upgraded the build. I actually had to take a second and change a couple things. And that is kind of the fun of SSF, is there is always something interesting and fun right around the corner. This really has reinvigorated just enjoying the game right now, especially as the league kind of drags on a little bit. Like I said, a week ago, I was kind of feeling I don't know, what do I do, right? I have plenty of currency. I have a very, very strong build in regular trade league that can just like stomp everything in the game, basically. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and like how would I make some content also, can do something exploratory for you guys. This past week has been awesome. If you didn't see the previous 2 videos, definitely this is the 1-week update. So if you want to catch up and see the progress, this will be I'll put it in a playlist for you guys. But yeah, I just want to do a quick update on the things that have changed, the way that I've gotten some of these things, just showing where the build is right now. It feels really, really good, honestly, at the moment. But there are some glaring weaknesses right now that I do want to work on. I have a plan for working on them, but as with everything in SSF, it is a process. It takes time. Definitely, this is the type of play style that make sure you have a lot of time or a lot of patience. We're just going to talk about the play style first, the gems, and then I'll go over the gear pieces. Basic play style is we cast Spark. We want to Leaf Slam, Frostblink around, cast our sparks. As always, we can do this so you can actually see what's on the screen. Lots of little projectiles bounce around. They pierce. You want to scale duration, pierce, projectile speed. Just try to hit the monster as often as possible. We're using Blood Rage for frenzy charges. We are using a Divine Blessing for wrath. And then my 2 curses is I'm using Sniper's Mark and Conductivity. And then I'm periodically casting a Tornado, and it'll reflect 10% of the damage that you did from those 20 projectile hits. So Tornado's a nice little damage boost as well. So yeah, that's the basic playstyle. We are using Defiance Banner, Blood and Sand, Zealotry, and Haste. As you'll see, I am not using Determination right now. I was using Determination until a few minutes ago. I noticed that even with Determination and theoretically pretty decent physical damage reduction, I was still getting really, really chunked. And then Elder said, you know what? I'll throw you a bone here. He dropped me. This is my first Elder fight. He dropped me this Watcher's Eye, which gives me Arcane Surge when affected by Zealotry when you create Consecrated Ground. Zealotry gives you a 10% chance to create Consecrated Ground on hitting a rare unique enemy. Since we hit so many times with Spark, this is up very, very often. And in addition to that, it also works with a Sulfur Flask. So this is very consistently up. I noticed a gigantic damage boost by doing that. A dead monster can't kill you. I just ran a couple maps by dropping Determination. I felt generally more resilient because I was killing more monsters more quickly. Way, way more quickly, actually. As always, when you make your own build, do it to your own taste. And for my own personal preferences, just like killing the monsters more quickly just felt better. Now, with that said, I do want to get some more PDR. I have Fizz taken as lightning right here. I have my Chaos Golem, which I believe is giving me about 17% physical damage reduction. And then on top of that, I'm using Soul of Gruckthul, and ideally, I would also use Soul of Lunaris once I'm freeze immune, which will help a lot as well. I will be around 20 to 25% full physical damage reduction. I would like to get that eventually to like 30 to 35%, so we can get the crafted physical taken as fire and lightning on the body armor. That's what I want eventually, but unfortunately, I don't have that right now. That will help a lot for physical damage reduction. There's a couple other places where we can get that as well, and that's basically the plan. I talk about this all the time, and I think I said it in like the previous video. Physical damage reduction is a struggle on a witch. Now, Necromancer can, she has some tools there, but generally with the witch, like Determination almost feels mandatory. In SSF with this build, there's real strong tension right now with my offense and my defense, to the point where like, you always run the risk of becoming a little bit of a wet noodle and taking hits like a wet noodle as well. Like your damage your damage output's a wet noodle, and the damage taken, you feel like a wet noodle as well. You just don't feel incredibly powerful in either direction. That's like where the physical damage reduction is right now. Also, long-term, I do want to get endurance charges on my rings as well. That's kind of how we're going to approach long-term physical damage reduction. The other thing that is also a pain in the ass is I want to cap my spell suppression. You can see I'm currently at 26%. I have it on my helmet and my gloves. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I crafted these boots. I hit ridiculous suffixes: tier 1 cold, tier 2 fire, and tier 3 lightning res. I did suffixes can't be changed. Those are the only 2 divines I've spent this whole time. I did a veiled chaos orb, and I unveiled movement speed and onslaught. Top rolled right off the bat. These are my boots, which I don't have spell suppression here, which really sucks. I'm going to have to recraft my body armor for spell suppression. Unfortunately, it's only eye level 81, so capping it is going to be very challenging, but I do want to eventually get there. We're going to be routing long-term, routing into instinct here, as well as taking this mastery. Long-term, we do recraft the boots and the body armor for spell suppression, and we can hit 100%. And then you can anoint inveterate here for 15% additional chance, and then also preventing 3% additional on top of that. So there is a plan for capping the spell suppression, but since I'm in SSF softcore, I actually noticed that my progression kind of stalled. I was doing this like weird balance between offense and defense. I felt like I was throwing wet noodles and becoming a wet noodle. You know, when you can get a little hard, you know, either giving or taking, you want to become a little turgid there, you know? So yeah, anyway, that's the defensive plan. I recognize that there's some holes in the defense right now, but that's kind of like the long-term plan right now. And like I said in the last video, is when you're in softcore, you can use death as a tool, like a way that you can feel out a build until you have it totally sorted. Yeah, that's basically the overall on the gems there. I don't think we need to go into any more detail there. Oh, I do have Anomalous Spark. I have fully done all of the heist contracts and everything. I did all of the quests. God, that takes so long. But I did get a regrading lens, which allowed me to make Anomalous Spark right here. 2 additional Pierce is really nice. I'm not sure what the ideal spark is, but this was pretty nice to hit. In terms of the gear, the only 2 real notable change right here that I haven't mentioned is I have a bunch of singularities. I actually have even more in my stash right now. What I did is, this was a recommendation, thank you to whoever commented this in the previous video. I updated my loot filter here to highlight platinum scepters. Since a singularity is the only unique platinum scepter, it's actually very efficient to just pick up every single white one off the ground and use a chance orb on it. And as you can see, I have hit 4 singularities in just the past 2 days. This is possibly not the perfect way to do it, but I went down here to the end game general crafting bases, and I set it up for low normal crafting bases to highlight the platinum scepter. I went down here to this drop down to scepters right there, and then I clicked tier 1 and it was under untiered. I set platinum scepter to tier 1, and then I made sure that the normal bases were showing and highlighted here. And so platinum scepters highlight on the ground, and then I can just quickly throw chance orbs at them, and it's worked out really, really well, as you can see. I've hit 4 of them in 2 days, which is pretty great. Singularity is really good. Long term, I do want to craft really good rare scepters, but very long-term singularity is incredible for this build early on. And then crafting this amulet was pretty fun. From killing Crusader, he dropped a citrine amulet, which is perfect because I need strength and dex. Crusader gives us a lot of lightning damage stuff. I alteration spammed until lightning pen. I augmented increased lightning damage. I believe I regaled regen life, and then I exalt slammed spell damage, and then later on mana regen rate. We have crafted proj speed, proj damage, as well as using longshot. Longshot is basically the best in slot in terms of overall spark damage. Proj speed is really good, and then the 60% increased damage. Since they travel so much, you can basically rely on always having that 60% damage. That's the gear update. That's the playstyle. That's the gems. That's where it's all at. Quick little highlight of my haul here. I've been delving quite a bit, trying to go for a conductivity on hit ring or a +1 cursed body armor. I did get a Doriani's Machinarium there. I don't think there's any reason to even run it. It's not on the Atlas anymore. Thank God. Got a Grand Spectrum. Still looking for a helmet enchant. I would love Spark +3 projectiles. That would obviously be best in slot. I have a ton of primordial chains. I think it might be a little bit more common than I thought it was, or I'm getting very lucky. This is an interesting double corrupt target. I don't think it's going to be better than using a big damage amulet like this, but there is a world where we lean into a ton of golems. We get an animus stone, and we can use 10 golems, and there might be a world there. I have to POB it. I have Voidwalkers here. There's a world where that's pretty good. +5 Pierce is incredible. Would actually allow me to drop Pierce support right here and get a bigger support gem. But I have a lot of stuff on these boots right here. And then the other thing I wanted to show real quickly is I have boots here with shock and avoid elemental ailments, and then this jewel here with 50% chance to avoid being shocked. I am now shock immune and freeze immune with reduced effect chill. So we're kind of getting towards there. kind of a baby Storm Shroud kind of setup. Definitely recommend that. Anyway, just a quick little update for you guys. I am loving this build. I'm really enjoying this process. I think at least for Trade League, you know, in SSF, it is taking a good amount of time to put it together. But I think in Trade League, if you were able to, you know, buy things for 1 chaos that are really cheap, I'm pretty confident that this will become a very strong, awesome feeling build. Might make this like a solo self-found viable league start guide in a couple days, which is pretty fun. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye-bye.